check. Okay, looks like it's working. So welcome all again. Okay, just before we start this session, I will just highlight this is more of a stereotype disclaimer, but I still want to make it that anything I'm talking in session here is something which is my views and opinions. And every investment and trading move, it involves risks. I suggest you, strongly recommend actually that you should conduct your own research before making any decision. Uh, I'm I'm quite sure that many of you are quite raring to go and get your hands dirty when it comes to trading on these different cryptocurrency exchange. But probably at the same time, there are a few things that I want you guys to go through before you start trading into cryptocurrency. And probably that's where I kind of listed a few of the things in the earlier slides before I can take you through the actual exchange and demonstrate how the trading is done on these exchanges. Uh, by no means I'm an expert, so I'm still learning these things. But feel free if you guys think there is more to add to it. I'd be more than happy to listen to it. So, few more things that I want to highlight in here that the cryptocurrency market they are highly volatile. So when you trade into these markets, I strongly recommend to keep an tab on how the market is going. As of now, this market is not regulated yet, so you'll find across news and in media all sort of news. But I must highlight, as of now, this is not regulated. And of course, these exchanges which you're going to talk about, they are 24 hours markets. So unlike the conventional exchanges which deal in fiat, so for all the beginners, when you talk about cryptocurrency, fiat is a term which is used for the conventional currency that we have been using so far in our day-to-day life. So it could be a British pound, it could be a euro, it could be a US dollar, anything which is not a crypto, we call it as a fiat currency. Of course, we are not talking about any commodities in here. So back to my point around the cryptocurrency exchanges. These exchanges are 24 cross 7 markets. So you will see trading even happening at night hours. These are not like Nasdaq or London Stock Exchange or uh, Nifty, where the trading starts in the morning and shutdowns at 3 o'clock. So what bearing in mind that the trading happens at night also with low volume. Uh, Few prerequisite I think that you guys might be aware of or might have done research, but if it is not, you don't know about these terms, that's fine. It's not something which is you need to be aware of. Things such as what is a hash, what is a block, what does a blockchain look like, what is the distributed ledger technology, anything to do with the tokens, all those kind of things. So don't worry, as we go through these things, I'll try to cover many of the things today, but I'm just conscious of the time. So let me see how many things I can capture, and probably if required, and if you guys are interested, I can do a follow-on session after this. Okay, so before before we start talking about the cryptocurrencies, I think last time I checked there were around 1,000 plus coins available in the market, and you'll be surprised to know that many of them are fraud or they are not mined at all. I have listed key five coins in here in terms of top five, actually, in terms of their market capitalization. And I'll just quickly go through this so you guys understand what exactly you are trading into. And of course, each one of us, we have a different preference in terms of what exactly we want to buy, what exactly we want to sell. But I just want to kind of go through these top five coins before we start getting into the exchanges and the trading pattern. Okay, to start with, so Bitcoin, I guess everyone has heard this name before. So this is one of the biggest, one of the coin with the biggest market cap at the moment. And this was something which was it is invented and designed for the first time by someone called Satoshi Nakamoto. Nobody knows whether the person with that name actually exists or it was a pseudonym used by someone else. So nobody knows about whether the person actually exists or not. But this genius, he invented this Bitcoin and of course the underlying technology, blockchain. Primarily, Bitcoin has been used so far in terms of payments, in terms of remittances, and to an extent around the transactions within the dark web. So for all those who have been keeping a track over the last few years, there was a website called Silk Route, which was shut down by FBI, where the primary mode of payment for selling anywhere, anything from drugs to slaves, they used Bitcoin at that time. But still, having said that, going through all ups and downs, Bitcoin is the one with the biggest market cap of 71 billion US dollars. Yes, it's billion. And the current supply is close to 16.5 million Bitcoin. And the average price for Bitcoin, this is the price for one Bitcoin, is ranging anywhere between 3,500 to 5,000 US dollars. In fact, just before I was going to start this meeting, somebody sent me a note saying that the Bitcoin is trading at $7,000 on a Zimbabwe cryptocurrency exchange. So we'll come to that in a minute as exchanges and everything. But as I said, markets are volatile and the currency fluctuates a lot. So all those I think who are online at the moment, they can actually Google, and I think it's a cryptocurrency exchange called Bitfundi, something of that sort, and that's where it's trading for $7,000. But that's a one-off exception. Probably if you go to other exchanges, you won't find that. The next cryptocurrency is Ethereum. So this was something which was co-founded by a chap called Vitalik Buterin, and it's many of the people believe that it doesn't have the negative connotation that Bitcoin or the kind of hangover that Bitcoin has been carrying for some time. Ethereum is something which is being designed to do the smart contracts. Probably this is something that I will talk about in next few sessions as what the blockchain is, what the smart contracts are. But probably for the beginners, I would say it's a piece of software that enables to do the transaction in a more trustworthy fashion as we have been doing it before. Market cap is close to 28 billion US dollars, and the current available supply is 94 million. Probably one thing worth highlighting here is when I talk about available supply, whenever these cryptocurrencies are designed or launched in the market, the person or the organization who set up these cryptocurrencies, they have a view as to what is the maximum amount of particular cryptocurrency we are going to have. So in case of Bitcoin, the cap is 21 million. I'm not sure about the exact number on Ethereum, but I think there is still a lot to go considering what the current supply is at the moment. And of course, the Ethereum is trading at the moment anywhere around 250 to 350 US dollars. Moving on to the next cryptocurrency, this is Ripple. So again, founded by a chap called Ryan Fugger. The primary use for Ripple was actually the financial services industry, and I think they are still the niche in area for this cryptocurrency. So real-time gross settlements, currency exchange, anything to do with the remittance is something that Ripple believes that they specialize into. Relatively small market cap, just $7.5 billion US dollars, and the available supply is 38 billion. This is a kind of a cryptocurrency where you notice that it's relatively low in terms of pricing. So one Ripple would cost you anywhere between 0.15 US dollar to 0.21 US dollars. Moving on to the last two in here. So Bitcoin Cash. For those who are already following the space, they know that Bitcoin Cash is nothing but just a fork coming out of Bitcoin. So somewhere within the Bitcoin community decided that we need to follow different patterns and of course different design, and that's where the Bitcoin Cash came into the picture. Within a small span of time, it has got a good market cap of close to 7 billion US dollar, and the current supply is 16 billion. The price is also good at the moment, close to 400 to 600 US dollars. And the last on my list is the Litecoin. So the founder was Charlie Lee, and it's primarily being designed to address the flaw that Bitcoin has at the moment, which is the speed of the transaction.
Sorry to interrupt you. You're still on the first slide. Are you
I'm on
moving
slide
to the
number
slides
3.
as you're talking?
I'm on slide number 3.
No, we can still see the first one.
Just a second.
Yeah, same for me as well. Look here. I can't see any further slide. I'm just looking at the title slide.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about.
Jitendra here. I've sent a message as well, Saj.
Yeah, so Samir here. I also sent you that message.
All right. Okay. Let me try.
Now it has moved to third slide. Yeah, I can see third
Yeah,
slide.
it's changed now.
Now I can see. Yeah.
Sorry about
Do you
that.
want to take this into presentation mode so that we can see the
Probably
complete
that's a good
slide?
idea, actually. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, can you guys see the screen now? Slide number 3, where it says
Yes.
cryptocurrency value and market size.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, we can see slide.
Yes.
Probably when I move on to the next slide, I will do that check again, because it looks like when I'm into the full screen mode, somehow the GoToMeeting, it doesn't like to pick up the current slide. Okay. So I think the numbers and the figures that I've been talking about, that's nothing, but it's exactly on this slide. So I was on the last bit in here, which was around the Litecoin. And this is again, the coin was invented with a view that the challenges that Bitcoin had in terms of the speed of transaction, to address that. And again, the market cap is close to 2 billion, and the available supply is 53 billion at the moment. Just pause on this slide just for a minute so you guys can have a look at it before I move on to next slide. Okay. Any questions so far? Anything you guys want to talk in here? We'll see if we can get some more time towards the end of this meeting to go through these.
So one question before we move on, Soch. Is this will this be more of a technology background, or is this more of a trading overview of how people could invest in Bitcoin? So will you be talking more about the blockchain and the underlying technology stuff, or is it just more financial stuff?
So this session is focused purely around how we are going to do the trading in cryptocurrency. Probably I will save all the technical details for the later sessions, because I'm conscious that not everyone on this forum is a it has a technology background. So this is purely around the transaction side of it. The only reason I'm kind of going through these details is these are kind of basic things you need to know before you start trading.
Okay, sure, thanks.
So just a quick question, Ashutosh here. I can see Bitcoin Cash has 16 million of available supply, although it's quite a new one compared to Bitcoin, which is having 16.5 million available supply. So what is this based on? So I guess it's based on mining, right?
That's correct. It's based on mining, and at the same time, when the whole blockchain or framework is designed for a cryptocurrency, at that point in time, they define what kind of maximum supply we are aiming for.
Okay, so but still then, how come Bitcoin Cash has very less supply compared to Bitcoin, which is quite old comparatively?
So Bitcoin Cash was a hard fork coming out of Bitcoin. So at the point when this forking happened, they made a decision as how we are going to split between the Bitcoin and the Bitcoin Cash. And if I remember correctly, at that point in time, all the individuals or the organizations who were holding Bitcoin at that point in time, and when the hard forking happened, and if your cryptocurrency is on the exchange, they were willingly giving you a percentage of Bitcoin as a Bitcoin Cash. So from the volume point of view, if you think, Bitcoin Cash is relatively new, but when the forking happened, at that point in time, all the Bitcoin holders, they were given the Bitcoin Cash also. Okay. Moving on to next slide. Can I quickly check you guys can see the next slide?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
good.
So unlike the conventional exchanges where fiat is traded, the factors that impact the value of cryptocurrency, they are a bit different in here. Clearly, by no means this is not an exhaustive list, but at the same time, I just wanted to highlight these are the few things that you want to bear in mind when you start trading in cryptocurrency. So first one being the supply and demand, I think, which is valid for even for fiat also, or if you're trading any commodity. So what kind of supply exists based upon the binding for a particular cryptocurrency, and accordingly the price would be determined. Like mine, that holds true for demand also. Resource energy requirements and blockchain difficulty level. So for those who don't have a background in terms of how these cryptocurrencies are produced or made available on the exchanges, there is a process called mining through which these different cryptocurrencies are produced, and the level of difficulty to generate these cryptocurrencies, it varies. So say for example, the level of difficulty for Ethereum could be different than the level of difficulty for Bitcoin, which would be different for the level of difficulty for Litecoin or Omisco or any other cryptocurrency. So that is a determining factor. And when you generate these cryptocurrencies, they are generated through high spec machines. And these machines, they need a lot of electricity. So this is one of the reasons why you see that majority of the Bitcoins coming out of China, because electricity is cheap in China. Someone made a similar proposition that if you, by hook or crook, if you can get a cheap electricity in India, you can set up your data center, spec it up with heavy spec machines over there, and start mining. So that is an option, again, as long as you can get a cheap electricity. Investor perception, of course, people perception and media, they always play an important part. So I'm sure many of you have heard about the quote from Jamie Dimon saying that Bitcoin is stupid, and all of a sudden Bitcoin price fell down and then it recovered over a period of time. So of course, people who are into the conventional markets, they understand the financial services market, and when they make such comments, the price goes down. Ease of transaction and storage. So again, how easily you can use that particular cryptocurrency to do the day-to-day transactions. You will hear news about people saying that yes, we accept Bitcoins, but it is very unlikely that you can actually go and spend 0.003 Bitcoin to buy a cup of coffee. Primarily because of the two reasons: the mining fee would something that is going to add to the value, and at the same time the speed of the transaction would be slow. So none of the retailer would actually want to give you a product in the hope of waiting that they're going to get the Bitcoin after an hour or 10 hours or whatever time does it take to resolve those nodes.
So this is Manoj, sorry.
Hi, Manoj. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, dumb question. Maybe I'm very new to this. So this is more of a concept, or you can say demat form, right? There is nothing like Bitcoin. I mean, like the original dollar or pound, we say there is a physical note as well, or coin. So it's more on, I mean, concept like we have shares, demat kind of. So it is more into that, right?
So I think that's a very good question actually, because many people think that all these cryptocurrencies, they are being just coming out of air. Somebody decides that one Bitcoin is $3,000 and the people start trading on it. That's not true actually. So there is a kind of a specific amount of resources and energies required to create a Bitcoin. And I think last time I heard it was John McAfee from the McAfee antivirus software, who said that he has got the biggest data farm in US, and the bare minimum efforts required to create a Bitcoin is in excess of $1,000. And these $1,000 are actually going in terms of the electricity supply for those machines, solving those algorithms, and then coming out with one Bitcoin. To your point, Manoj, again, I think US dollar is also no longer backed by gold nowadays. So all those people who kind of are tracking the financial services market back in 2008, when all the financial crisis happened, the central banks all over the world, they decided to go for quantitative easing, which will actually mean they will start printing the money. And the only cost to print the money, keeping aside all the inflation and all those factors, is just the cost of the paper and the printing. So the world that we live in today, it's still not something, these currencies, they are backed by the governments, but they don't have any kind of a gold or any other commodities backing these currencies.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, quickly capturing the few other factors that impact the value of the cryptocurrency. So legal, regulatory, and government, this is something which is quite critical actually, because so far all the governments across the world, they always had a central bank who is going to control the money which is flowing into that economy. When cryptocurrencies come into the picture, the proposition is very different, because governments, they have got no control of how these currencies are generated, how these currencies are being used to make the transactions. And on the top of it, you can make a transaction across the globe without the governments knowing about it. It's all encrypted, it's all trust based. So this is going to be a kind of biggest challenge for governments in central banks in coming time, as how to regulate it if they want to. I'm not sure if banning cryptocurrency would be an option, because there would still be people who would be doing it. So that's an important aspect. Of course, market volatility we all have seen. In fact, I think just before this session, I was calculating that when I send out the invite for this webinar, and by now, if someone has bought a Bitcoin at that time, he would have made close to 300 pounds on it if they have managed to sold it now. So that's a kind of volatility we are talking about. Of course, the price of Bitcoin is a factor which impacts the other altcoins also. So worth bearing in mind. And of course, the market capitalization, how many fiat currencies is being spent in buying these cryptocurrencies. Two other factors I will quickly cover. So those are around the confidence in the conventional banking system. Just to give you an example, Zimbabwe or Venezuela, these economies where people don't have any trust in the government, the people in those economies, especially who have got a lot of wealth, they want to put money in the cryptocurrencies rather than keeping in a Zimbabwean dollar, which is kind of depreciating on every day. And of course, scams is something that's worth keeping an eye on. I'll talk a little bit about in terms of security and the hacking as how you can avoid it. Because unlike a fiat where you go out, take out the money from the ATM, put it in your pocket, and it's all yours, if you're not careful about how you manage your holdings in these cryptocurrencies, don't get surprised if somebody is going to hack it and take it away from you. Okay. Moving on to next one.
Yeah, hi, Saj. A quick question, actually. So first of all, let me very quickly thank you for arranging this session. I'm finding it very informative as a new beginner and learner in the blockchain area. And my question here is about this private blockchain and a public blockchain concept, Saj. So I understand that the banks now, as you very correctly said, that the biggest challenge is that, government, it is a decentralized concept we are talking about. And government challenges like, they don't have any control on this currency production as such. Now, I heard that each and every central bank, including UK as such, they're coming up with their own. I mean, they believe in this digital coin concept, which is like Bitcoin or a blockchain as a technology. But they are more believer in a private blockchain where, they have their own control as such, and they're coming up with their own digital coins. Even the banks and the central bank or a government. I mean, I know I'm going a bit more in detail, it's more of a tricky question, but do you have any quick point of view, like how much it will impact the private blockchain area like Bitcoin technology?
Let me take a step back on this one. So the whole idea of a blockchain is it's a decentralized ledger. I wish I had some time just to quickly give you an example. Probably towards the end of the session, I'll see if I can cover the topic around the blockchain. But the idea is whatever ledger that you have, I will have a copy of that ledger and someone else will have a copy of that ledger, and it is all decentralized. So, and the reasoning behind it is no one should have a control on the currency as how it is being managed. And there should be an element of privacy around the encryption, and the trust element should be involved into it. Now, let's put this in the context of how the central banks, if they are going to come up with a currency of their own or try to convert the existing fiat into a digital currency, how it would work. So let's say, for example, Bank of England, they decide to have their own blockchain instance and generate a cryptocurrency. But if you see in terms of control on that cryptocurrency, it would be the Bank of England. which kind of
Yeah.
goes against the whole principle of blockchain or the cryptocurrency, where it should be decentralized.
Correct.
So I would say
Yeah.
any bank trying to do that, they can do that. There is nothing that stops doing it, but that would be a move towards a cashless society. Let's not confuse
Yeah.
the cryptocurrency with the digital currency. They are separate things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was more understanding the impact on the mass adoption of Bitcoin because of that. Do you see? I mean, I understand it should not be, but do you see any impact if there will be more of a private blockchain kind of a scenario where we have a digital fiat coin kind of a thing, but still, do you see Bitcoin as a chances of more of a mass adoption, or that can come as an additional challenge for the Bitcoin to be popular?
I think if the banks come up with their own currency, there is nothing that stops from doing that. It's like it would be kind of equivalent to having the same way they had a plastic note for an existing 5 pound paper note.
All right.
But
Debit
if they
card
want to
or
do
credit.
something it's going to be a parallel economy. They will still have a control of it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hi, Nikhil here. I just wanted to add something to the question here. Although I know 2 banks in the city which have been working on HSBC, which are HSBC and BNP. They've been working on their private blockchain ventures. There's no talk about any private currency, but they are working on private Bitcoin infrastructures. Morgan Stanley very recently was in the news, which says that it will officially start accepting, or it was considering officially accepting Bitcoins. So I think there is a lot of interest and awareness, and some banks are seriously considering. So I would be surprised if it doesn't happen in the near future.
I think that's a fair point. Probably the only other thing that I would add to it is setting up a blockchain instance and having your own currency. They are slightly different things. You can have a blockchain instance, say for example, to track a diamond coming out of Africa, and the whole blockchain instance will tell you who actually owned the diamond, at what price it was being sold, all those details, without having a cryptocurrency associated with it. But if these banks they want to have their own cryptocurrency, that's a whole different proposition then. Okay, I'm just conscious of the time. So moving on to the next slide. So I'll quickly go through a few of the exchanges that I've been trading or I've been familiar with. I'm conscious that there are more exchanges than what I've listed in here. But probably I'll just quickly do a snapshot before we actually go to the exchanges and see what kind of trading we can do. So first one, I think I will start with Kraken. So it's kraken.com. One thing that I want to highlight in here, and I think that's very important, is it is a kind of a general tendency for all of us to just put this word in Google and kind of click on the link which first comes across as to go to that particular website. I think I would strongly recommend to make sure that you check the browser URL, that this is the URL for that particular exchange. You'll find there would be a lot of either hackers who would put a Google advert for it saying that everything it will show as same as Kraken, but when actually click on it, it would be something like kraken.it or kraken. Something else, not the actual Kraken URL. So make sure if you are Googling for this website, any of these website addresses, you are pointing to the right one. And then there might be few more intermediaries who pretend to be that exchange, and they will manage the funds for you, while you think that you're actually trading on exchanges, but actually they are acting as a third man, taking a commission out of the trade and then putting your money on those exchanges. So just a word of caution in here. Coming back to the exchange analysis, so Kraken, I would say it is one of the worst interfaces I've seen so far. But in terms of fee, it is still okay. So I think they usually charge around 0.61% to 0.25% of the trade. So just for the benefit of those who have never done trading before, so for every £100 you are going to trade onto the exchange, when it comes to selling that particular cryptocurrency, they're going to charge you anywhere from 0.6 to 0.25. I'll come to the fees for these exchanges, and there are a few slides later on around the maker fee and the taker fee. I will talk in detail about it. In terms of ease of funds transfer, I think if anyone of us have got an account, a euro denominated account or a pound denominated account, this would be the exchange that I suggest to go with. The other exchanges, they are US based, and they expect a US dollar denominated account. If you don't have a US dollar denominated account, probably you will end up paying a lot of transaction fee either through your bank or the currency conversion when you're going to convert your currency, British pound or euro, into the cryptocurrency. In terms of verification process, this is relatively easy. So this is kind of a thing that you will come across when you registered on any of these exchanges. The standard model for these is they will ask you for your email address, your password as the first thing to get you registered. And then there are different tier or level of verification across these exchanges so that they will allow you trading based upon which tier you are on. So this is not some kind of a qualification criteria, but subject to the level of detail that you would provide to these exchanges, and accordingly they will promote you to the different tier. So just to give you an example, if you are in front of your computer, if you registered on Kraken, it will straight away put you into tier 1. But when actually if you want to do any trade, it will say that you cannot do so, you won't be able to deposit euro, all those kind of stuff, just because you're not provided your name, your date of birth, your address. When you do that, it will promote you to the tier 2 and so on. So I'd suggest for Kraken, it's pretty relatively straightforward. It asks you all the details, and you should be able to trade as high as, I think it's 200,000 US dollars or something. I think it even goes to million or so as a part of tier 3 or tier 4. But there isn't any kind of a restriction that stops you from getting yourself registered on these different tiers. One thing that again worth bearing in mind with all these exchanges is these are all IT infrastructures run by few business minded and few IT people. They don't have any strong customer support, whatever exchange you go to. So even a basic thing like resetting a password becomes very, very lengthy process if your account is locked. So I suggest whatever activity you do on these exchange, just bear in mind that you provide the right info, because when it comes to any of the customer support, they're going to take ages on these. Just quickly finishing on Kraken. So the way it does the fund transfer is if you've got account in, say, NatWest, and if you want to buy a cryptocurrency on Kraken, first thing you need to do is through the international banking transfer facility of NatWest, you can transfer it to the account. I will show you as I take you through the Kraken demo. As there is a Fidor Bank, a German bank, where you can transfer those funds. During the transfer process, there would be an automatic conversion from pound to euro based upon that particular exchange rate. As soon as your fund comes to the Fidor account, it will be shown into your Kraken account. So you can see that actually if you're transferred, say, 100 pounds, that 100 pound is converted into 106 euros. And now you can buy a cryptocurrency on exchange on Kraken worth 106 euros. You can decide to go for, I don't know, 0.001 Bitcoin, or you can decide to have 0.3 Ethereum or any of those currencies. My experience with Kraken is, as I said, it allows you to transfer into a German bank, which gives me more confidence. They've got a branch in London also. So at least I'm sure that if I've got some issues, I know who to reach out to in person. Next one is Coinbase. So Coinbase and GDEX. So I think they are quite tightly coupled. So any trade you're going to put on GDEX is going to go on Coinbase. One of the best interfaces I've seen so far. It's a US-based exchange. Their fee is high, especially if you are trying to buy any crypto using your credit card. I think I did a calculation last time, and it all adds up to close to 7.5% just the fee. So if you want to make any profit on Coinbase while trading into cryptocurrency, bear in mind you're talking on the top of 7.5% if you used your credit card to buy a crypto. One good thing, and probably this is the only thing which is unique to Coinbase, is all your digital currencies are fully insured. I will talk about the security in a little bit, but one thing worth bearing in mind is whenever you buy any cryptocurrency on these exchanges, and if you're not going to be an active trader, my suggestion would be to bring it back to a wallet, not to leave it on exchange, because on exchange it is very much prone to any of the hacking attacks, and exchanges, they won't be answerable for it. So we'll talk about on the next slide at what does the end-to-end process looks like. Next one, Poloniex. I think this is a crypto-only service. So remember I talked about fiat, which is the conventional currency that we used. On Kraken, on Coinbase, we were able to move 100 pounds into 106 euro to buy a currency, a cryptocurrency. On Poloniex, this is not a facility that they offer. So you need to have a crypto to deal in crypto. So for example, if I want to buy, say for example, OMISGO, or the ticker symbol is OMG, I won't be able to buy it on Kraken because Kraken doesn't sell OMISGO. In that case, what I have to do is to buy some crypto on Kraken, transfer that crypto from Kraken to Poloniex, and then buy OMG or OMISGO on Poloniex. I think it's a big thing. It's a big exchange in US, and it, I think, claims to majority of the digital assets, they keep it on cold storage. So back to my point around hacking, this is something that they make sure that there won't be much hacking, because if they are not trading that currency, they will move it into the cold storage and won't leave it on exchange. Bitfinex, I must admit, at times I have traded on Bitfinex, but I must caution you, this is an exchange where it has been hacked n number of times before. I don't know what kind of measures they have taken, but the kind of analysis that it offers, the tools are pretty sophisticated. And one more thing is their AMC, anti-money laundering and know your customer checks, they are quite stringent. So when it comes to withdrawing your funds into fiat, so let's say for example, if I got 1 Bitcoin on Bitfinex, and if I want to sell it today, I need to make sure that all my AMC and KYC have been cleared, which usually takes around a month or so before I can encash into a US dollar. Bittrex, I think this is one of the popular exchanges. I haven't done much trading on it, but Bittrex seems to be much more popular than Bitfinex. So that was a brief, maybe a bit fast introduction on the exchanges.
Sorry, one question here, Soj.
Yep.
You said you need to have your ANC and KYC cleared. So what is ANC?
Okay, so AML is anti-money laundering, and KYC is know your customer. So
okay.
If you go to any bank, they will ask you for your proof of ID, your proof of address, proof of funds in your bank account. So likewise, although these exchanges, they are not regulated, but they have to demonstrate that they have done the right measures, there are right controls in place so that they can onboard the customers. And that's where, if you go to Bitfinex in particular, you will notice they will ask you so many questions that provide us your driving license. And it's quite funny actually, because I remember in one of the proof, what they want you to do is hold your passport in front and take a selfie along with a slip with your signature and a date on it, which was quite funny and annoying actually. But they asked for it. You will get to see when you log into Bitfinex and when you go to those verification process, there are lots of checks in there.
Okay, thanks. Another question related. So there are other platforms. One of the one of my friends uses is eToro. He's recommended that. That is not in your list.
Sorry, did you say eToro?
Would you recommend that? Yeah.
So eToro is a slightly different model, and I must admit I haven't traded on eToro before. But when eToro started, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, the model that they followed is you kind of piggyback on a particular trader's pattern. You copy his trades, and gradually over a period of time, they have evolved into copying the pattern of a trader who is dealing into cryptocurrency. So let's say, for example, if you think that I want to follow the same trades that Soj is making, what you can do is you can hook up to me on eToro, and you can do the same trading. I'm not sure if eToro has got their own exchange or not, or they link into someone else, but probably you can think this copying functionality is sitting on the top of what the standard exchange model that these exchanges have.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just conscious of the time. Any more questions before we actually go? I was thinking that I can show you a few things on the Kraken platform. So any questions on exchanges, on currencies before I move on to the next slide? I hope everyone can see the next slide. There's a cryptocurrency trading slide.
Yeah, we can see.
Perfect. Okay. So what I tried to do on the slide is to depict the sequence of activities that you would do when you start the cryptocurrency trading. So first one is exchange selection. So although I've listed 5 exchanges on the previous slide, probably if you want, you can go with a different exchange also. Few things that you want to bear in mind is the trading fee, as what kind of trading fee a particular exchange is charging. And I want you to be careful in this because, as I said, there are a few exchanges which charge a lot of money in terms of cryptocurrency trading. So just make sure you've done your research. Also, what kind of supporting currencies these exchanges offer. So at the moment, there are a few cryptocurrencies like Omisco, OMG, which is not offered by Kraken. And if I want to buy Omisco, there is no way I can do it on Kraken. So I have to go to Bitfinex or Poloniex or Coinbase to buy this cryptocurrency. Likewise, not all exchanges do a fiat to crypto purchase. You need a crypto to crypto purchase. So as I said, Poloniex, they won't accept a US dollar or any other currency. So you need to have a cryptocurrency to do this exchange. And that's where the exchange selection becomes more important. I don't think there is any fee that any exchange would charge in terms of registering. But again, you don't want to spread your investment across different exchanges just sitting there if you're not trading. Opening a trade account, pretty straightforward. As I said, just bear in mind the KYC and AML checks which are in place. One thing that I would strongly recommend is to have a two-factor authentication linked to your account. I've known few individuals who have lost money just because they haven't enabled this two-factor authentication. For those who don't know what two-factor authentication is, this is an additional check on the top of your password. So usually when you go to any website, you enter your username or your email address followed by a password. A two-factor authentication allows you to key in a dynamically generated number or a kind of a digit that is valid only for that particular time. I think if you're using ICICI Bank functionality, bank in India, they do something called OTP, one-time password, which they email you or send to your phone number. It's on the similar lines. My recommendation would be to go for a Google Authenticator. Do not go for the SMS functionality. I think as Facebook does or any other authentication would do is they send you a text message because again, I have read instances where someone hacked the exchange and took that key from the SMS and managed to get into the account. Google Authenticator pretty safe. It doesn't follow the voice or the SMS route. It comes through internet through the Google infrastructure. Worth having a look at it. Transforming fiat to exchange. I think we talked about a little bit on this one. So I gave you an example of Kraken. You can try on Coinbase or any other exchanges. I think Bitfinex, it also accepts US dollars. So bear in mind that there are currency conversion rates, especially if you're doing with the banks over in UK. My experience has been HSBC charges a lot. NatWest seems to be a winner in this case, especially if you have a big amount. I think they just charge you £10 for the international transaction. I'm not sure about the exchange rate, which bank offers you the best exchange rate, but that again depends upon what time you do that transaction. At least you will get a quote from NatWest that this is the kind of money you're going to gain to your euro-denominated account. And again, bear in mind that it would be a lead time in terms of fund when it appears to your exchange account. So this is few things that you want to bear in mind. All these infrastructure around the exchanges, around the wallets, around the cryptocurrencies, this is evolving. And if I haven't done any kind of any type of a transaction before, there is no guarantee that it will happen spontaneously. There might be few checks, there might be few delays. So worth bearing in mind these kind of things. Now, when it comes to placing your first order, I would suggest all those who are doing it for the first time, if you want to put money on it, start with a small amount, as small as say 20 pounds. It's maybe a cost of a coffee or a couple of weeks or so, and see if you can get the whole process done through a small amount. So placing your first order, selling that crypto, even making €1 on it, and then getting that crypto back to your bank account. And last but not the least, you need to select a wallet. I will talk about it in a minute, as what kind of a wallet are available in the market. And of course, there is a fee associated with transferring these funds from exchange to your wallet. And we'll touch base a little bit upon public and private keys. Okay, any questions so far? I will just want to quickly take you through the Kraken website just to show you a few things before I move on to it.
While you take this, I mean, what's the tax implication on this when you trade in this cryptocurrency? So whatever profit you make, you'll have to declare while filing return and all, right?
That's right. The latest policy paper that HMRC has produced, all the capital gains on cryptocurrencies, they would be treated the same way as a normal capital gain would be, and you have to pay a tax on it. I know individuals who do it very religiously, who make money and who pay tax on it. I also know individuals who kind of make money on it and then use the bank's account in the different currencies, so the money never comes back to that account. But I would suggest not to go that way. Any money you are making, it's worth showing it to HMRC, paying a tax on it before you kind of enjoy that money.
Yeah, true.
Okay, two questions here, Soj. I was talking to a friend last week, and he was quite interested in this whole thing. And he's in India. He was wondering if there is a way for him to get involved and open an account. So, what's the advice for anyone who's not in the UK or Europe or US?
So, I think there are few shops in India who sell Bitcoin. There aren't any India. I mean, I haven't come across very mature India-based exchange. And when I say India-based exchange, what I meant is you should be able to pay in Indian rupee and buy a digital asset or a cryptocurrency. There are few shops, but they just sell Bitcoin. I won't be surprised if the banks in India, especially the nationalized bank, they blacklist the individuals who are making these fund transfers, because any kind of a fund transfer into these exchanges, I don't think there is much awareness within the Indian market, especially when there is a lot of black money, that a bank would let it go. Probably he can try, but again, that is a slightly risky thing to do. I haven't done it before. I don't know many individuals from India who have actually done it. But one thing I'm pretty sure is there are shops in India who sell Bitcoin. So clearly there are, I think the last statistics that I heard is there are, on an average, every day there are around 2,500 individuals who buy Bitcoin in India. So people are using their bank accounts. How do they do it? I must admit, I haven't done the research.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, can I check if you can see Kraken homepage on the browser on your WebEx?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what I've done is I've just set up a dummy account in here to show you how you can trade in Bitcoin. So there won't be any balance in here. So kraken.com is the website. So let me enter my.
Hey, Soj, Samir here. I can't see the Kraken web page.
Okay.
I see the chart.
Just bear with me. Can you see it now?
No, now it shows waiting to view Soj Fagare's screen. Okay, now it.
Yeah,
now
we
it
can see it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm on the Kraken website. As you can see, there are 3 text boxes in here. The first one is actually your username, which is you can set up your email address. The second one is where I entered the password, and as you can see, the third one that says two-factor authentication. So if you haven't enabled two-factor authentication, it won't ask you anything. I haven't done this for the dummy account, but once you have enabled it, it will ask you for the two-factor authentication. For those who come from the technology background, this is similar to a VPN key which you get from your office. If not, then just download a Google Authenticator. There are other tools also, but probably my preference has been for Google. So you can use a Google Authentication, which will show you an 8-digit number, so you can key in here and log in. So for the time being, I will bypass that, and I will log in into the Kraken. Now, not one of the best interfaces, as I said, but you can see here a lot of information. So when you guys open an account on Kraken, and when you want to start trading, the first thing that you need to do, as I mentioned, is to deposit a fiat or deposit a currency in here. And the way to do it is you go to the funding tab over here, you click on it. And as you can see here, there are different currencies which are listed on the left-hand side. So the cryptocurrency exchange is slightly more complicated than the conventional exchange or the markets that you have been dealing as a part of share trading or equity, any of those sorts, because we are talking here about different baselines. We have got different cryptocurrencies, we have got different fiat currencies. So every point in time, we need to highlight as what is the baseline we are talking in here. As you can see on the top left-hand corner, there is a combo box or drop down that tell you what is the currency pair we are referring in here. For the time being, I've set it to XBT, which is XBT is the ticker for Bitcoin. It's funny actually the way Kraken does it, because Kraken usually prefix these with XBT or different sorts, which usually I remember this was used for the metal exchanges where we used to deal in copper and all that kind of stuff. But if you go to the different exchanges, they will call it as a BTC and not XBT. But just for the sake of Kraken, let's say I've set it to XBT to US dollar. I can set it to XBT to euro also, and accordingly, all the transactions that I've seen over here would be in that particular currency pair. Now, coming back to depositing funds over here. So what I did when I was setting up this account is, if you just register over here and come to funding, you won't see a euro over here. The reason being, you are not tier 2 certified. So make sure you get these verifications done through the Get Verified tab and have all the at least the top 3 tier certified, so you should be able to trade easily in it. Now I'm on funding tab. I say I want to deposit, and I say I want to deposit a euro over here. So I click on euro, and you will see that there are different deposit methods available. So probably I'll go for SEPA or a wire transfer, and you will see all the details in here. So this is Fedor Bank, as I mentioned, the German bank. They've got a branch in London. I must admit, I've never visited it, but I heard the name Fedor. This is something that I've dealt with before. So one of the trustworthy banks. One thing that to bear in mind is the kind of transaction fee they charge. So for the wire transfer, I think it's going to be the €5 exchange rate, if you can see on my screen. But you need to make a transaction of €50 bare minimum. And if you want to do a SEPA, I think all they charge is for the conversion. So minimum has to be €1. So based upon your preference, go for it. I'm sure everyone uses internet banking. So make sure you use the right kind of reference, which is highlighted on my screen for this particular account. So whenever you open an account, they will give you a reference number which you want to put in before you do the transaction. It's the standard way you would do any interbank transaction. In this scenario, the only difference would be you would be transferring from a UK bank into a German bank, so your pounds will get converted into euro. I think likewise there are other options also. You can do a Japanese yen, you can do a Canadian dollar. I think there was US dollar also somewhere, if I remember correctly, or maybe not. So that's how you actually do the first step, which is transferring the funds, your fiat, into your exchange account. So once that's done actually, and when you click on the deposit, you will see over here, the recent deposit tab, the amount which is being displayed. Do not get surprised if your amount doesn't appear in here, because you have to select the right currency to show that account on the left hand side. So for example, if you have transferred a Canadian dollar and if you're looking under euro, that amount won't be listed in here. You have to select the Canadian dollar, only then that transaction would be listed in here. So that's the first step that you would do. I'm just conscious of the time. I really wanted to finish it in 1 hour. I hope you guys okay to carry on for next 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine, sir.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Sure.
Now, once you have deposit your funds in here, they will appear, and then you go to the trade tab. One important thing that I would suggest is make sure that you got the right currency pair selected in here, because say for example, if you selected a Bitcoin to US dollar and looking for euro or bit, it kind of at times it could be confusing. Now, placing your first order, I think it's pretty straightforward actually. So you click under the trade, you click on new order, you select what do you want to do, a buy or a sell. In this case, let's say you want to buy 0.003 XBT, which I think would be equivalent to 300 something euro, 3609 euro. If I go with the market, it would cost me 10 euro. As you can see, I can also put a limit in here. I will say I'd come to a particular euro, only then buy it, otherwise don't buy it. Pretty straightforward process. I think if you have selected the right pair over here, you don't have to set anything over here, because the cryptocurrency would automatically come in here. And of course, you can set the price and the total amount. As I said, it will be, if I put it as a market, it will tell me that I have to spend 10.82 euro to buy 0.003. Let's see if I drop one more. So give and take, if I transfer 100 pounds, just for the reference purpose, that get converted into 106 euro. On the similar lines, I can own a Bitcoin worth 0.03. Then you click on this button. I'm not going to click it because I don't have any funds in this dummy account, so it will give me an error. There would be one more screen after this, which will show you, are you sure you want to place that order? You can make a submission over there. If you don't want to see that screen, just click on this one and you will never see that submission again. It will place the order in one go. So for all your buy and sell, this is the screen you're going to use. When you have to sell it, you say, this is the currency I want to, this is the amount that I want to sell. Of course, the exchange will check your account and see have you got that currency or not, and accordingly it will throw the messages. You will see all your orders in here, the one that have been actually successful, or that have been closed, or that have been cancelled. All the orders would be listed in here. I think for the basic trading, those are the two key things you need to know. As you would play around with it, you'll get more information. I won't go in terms of positions and trade, more complicated. Few other things. Yeah.
So what are the different status? I mean, is it ordered and executed once you are actually making this trade? So once you get that Bitcoin, so what will it be executed like we do in conventional?
That's right. So when you place an order, and if you're putting it, say market, as in this case, as I put it in here, the order will get executed and you will see that transaction as success. So on the screen below, under the status, you will see success. And when you go to your trade screen over here, it will show all the transactions below under the ledger. So all the transaction, as you will see in your conventional bank account, those will be listed in here. One thing to watch out for is in our conventional bank accounts, so I'm looking into my ICICI account or HDFC account, there is just one currency, which is INR. In this case, the scenario is different. Your assets are quite different, and those are the ones you're going to see over here.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think in terms of probably the first few bits of trade, that's all you need to know. Just make sure you get verified across these different tiers, which are listed under the verified tab. You will see the maximum cap on it. I suggest get it done as early as possible, because whenever you want to get your capital gains from the cryptocurrency trading, it is important that you are verified in here. If you're verified, the process is pretty straightforward. Just thinking few other things that you want to just, if you are quite
So
enthusiastic.
one question:
Mhm.
when you sell, how do you get the money back to your account?
Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm under the trade tab.
Mhm.
As per the previous example, I just bought 0.003 Bitcoin. So I want to sell. I'll put 0.03 Bitcoin, which is going to give me back 108 euro. When this order completes, under the trading tab on the ledger section, you will see 108 euro balance in here. Once that balance is here, you go back to funding, you say withdraw, and this is where you say I want to withdraw in euro. And this will tell you to add an account. So let's say add account. I give a description to my account. All you need is an IBAC and BIC, which should be on your bank statement. And of course, the bank name and address. You save that bank account. So next time you go in there, you should, it's the same as adding a beneficiary in any of the conventional transactions.
Okay.
And how do I add it to a wallet?
Okay, so that is the next thing. So I just wanted to make sure that there are no more questions on the Kraken. I suggest just log in and try to play around. Nothing is going to happen wrong if you don't have any balance in here. Once you are relatively comfortable, just transfer 20 pounds or something, try to play around, and that will give you more confidence. So I take it there are no more questions on the Kraken platform, and I will move back to the final step. Let me share my screen.
Hey, Sauj, Samir here. One quick thing. Do these exchanges like Kraken give the capital gains statement? Because HMRC will need some statement against which they will charge the tax, right?
That's right, but they won't give you any statement. I think that this is where it becomes very tricky, because even if they decide to give you a capital gains statement, it's a kind of a geographically agnostic. They are thinking that you could be any part of the world and trading. So unless you say them that, and to be honest, the way these exchanges deal with, it's a pretty standard model. You make money, we make money. We don't care what you do with the money. That's it. Unlike the conventional exchanges.
Okay, got it, got it.
And probably that's the reason the exchanges that are listed in here, those are the ones where I actually traded. So at least it's kind of difficult to say that yes, these are like, you can treat it like any of the conventional exchanges like FTSE, where you can go and trade, or any other trading platform. But at least
Right.
few things like Poloniex, we know that they are not like fly by night operators.
Well, that's helpful.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Moving back to the last step on the crypto trading. Can I check you guys see my PowerPoint slide deck?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So you've selected your exchange, you have opened a trade account, you have transferred your fiat to exchange, you have placed your first order, you made money by buying and selling crypto. What about if you don't want to sell it? You are a person who is a passive investor who said, you know what, I'm going to buy a Bitcoin today for 3.5 grand. I'm going to keep it, say, even until December, sell it for 5,000 pounds, and that's it. So the last thing you want to do is to leave your Bitcoin on the exchange where anyone can come and hack it and take it out. You have to move that Bitcoin into your wallet. Now, what exactly is a wallet? So wallet is nothing but it's either a piece of software that holds that particular cryptocurrency against your private key, or it could be a hardware wallet. And hardware wallet could be, you know what, you can jot it down on a pen and paper, but it's kind of a long key. You don't want to mess up with it where you got £3,500 invested on it. So that's why you have got hardware wallet. So hardware wallet is nothing but it's a kind of a USB with a firmware sitting on it, which encrypts your cryptocurrency. You can put it in safe, as good as a piece of gold. So I will quickly run through these wallets. I won't take more than 5 minutes of your time, although there are a few more things that I want to capture today. So in terms of wallet, at least you should be able to complete the end-to-end transaction. There are different types of wallet which are available. So there are desktop wallets, which is kind of a thick client for all the probably non-techies on this forum. Thick client is, you can think of as a software installed on your machine. You can store it on your laptop and computer. It could be a mobile wallet, which is nothing but an app sitting on your smartphone. A web wallet, it could be you want to keep your cryptocurrencies on a website. Now again, these wallets, they can be classified as hot wallet or cold wallet. So hot wallet is something where it is connected online, it is syncing up with the different areas on the blockchain. A cold wallet is, you decide, I don't want to sync it up, I want to keep it separate, the same way as I mentioned in terms of a USB or a hardware specifically designed to store these coins. I would strongly recommend using a wallet. So usually these wallets, they don't directly charge a fee, but when it comes to sending back the cryptocurrency from the wallet back into the exchange, if you want to sell it, there is a mining fee associated with it. In my opinion, the mining fee is relatively less compared to the kind of gains that you would made on these cryptocurrencies. So it's just not a humongous amount. But then again, as I said, if you're trying any particular transaction for the first time, make sure you have some kind of a lead time. If you're thinking that you've got a cryptocurrency or you've got a Bitcoin which is sitting, you bought it at 3,500, you want to sell it at 5,000, but you realize actually I want to sell it tomorrow because tomorrow it's going to be 4,500. The kind of lead time that is required to take that Bitcoin out of your wallet, put it back on the exchange and sell it might be quite long, because it all depends the kind of mining which is going on in parallel to move that cryptocurrency from your wallet into the exchange. Selling at exchange is pretty straightforward. It doesn't take that long, but transfer either across the exchanges or between your wallet and exchange can take more time. So what I've done here is listed few wallets. So there are desktop wallets, as you can see on the examples area. I use a mobile wallet. I use Jaxx. I have never tried Bread wallet. So Jaxx is kind of you can take a backup and all those kind of things. To be honest, hardware wallets, they come like 60, 70 quid. Too much of money to be spent, something which you can do it programmatically through the mobile wallet. So never tried those ones. Again, make sure you back up your wallets. Oh, sorry, one last thing on the wallets. So you need to make sure that your wallets have the right kind of a support for that particular cryptocurrency. So let's take an example of a Jaxx. If I want to store a Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum, Jaxx can do that for me. But if I want to store an IOTA or Monero or Omisco, Jaxx won't support that. So when you buy a cryptocurrency, bear in mind just a bit of a little forward thinking to see where you're going to store that particular cryptocurrency, and accordingly you need to find a wallet for it. Okay, I'm just conscious of the time. Any questions on wallet?
Hey, Sauj, Samir here. One quick thing. How do you link this wallet to your exchange to download the code?
So when you have a wallet, it will have a public key and a private key. And these public and private keys, they are specific to a particular currency. So let's say, for example, I have got Ethereum, I have got a Bitcoin, and I have got Omisco, OMG. Now, for each of these currencies, my wallet would generate a set of public key and a private key. So for 3 currencies, I will have 6 keys. Private key is something that you never ever disclose to anyone. This is your website password. This is the way. If anyone knows about your private key, they are going to take out your funds. As simple as that. Public key is nothing but like your bank account number. If you're going to pay me, I say, here's my bank account number. Can you do a transfer? Bang, that's it. So when you go to these exchanges, you tell you want to transfer these funds to this address, and that address is nothing but that is your public key. And when you give that address to that exchange will move the fund to that address. There are smarter ways to do it also, because for every public key, and I think I must have said that. So public key, you can think of, it's a string of alphanumeric string of 35, 36 characters. That's what actually a public or a private key is. And usually what you do is, from a wallet, you copy your public key, paste it into your exchange, the address where you want to transfer the funds. You ask exchange to make that transfer, they transfer the funds, and that cryptocurrency comes into your wallet.
Got it.
And corresponding to those keys, there are also clever ways of doing. There is a QR code. So rather than you keying that, I would strongly recommend not to type in any public or private key. Use a copy paste mechanism, or use a QR code, even better.
Interesting. Got it.
So one more question here, a bit of a cheeky one. Can I trade anonymously? Can I be absolutely anonymous, except for the guys who know about my KYC details?
You can trade anonymously, and the kind of controls and checks that exist at the moment, you can do that. But the thing is, when it comes to reaping back your returns, converting your crypto into your fiat, you will get all kind of KML and AYC checks. So let's say, for example, you put in $4,000 to buy a Bitcoin under the name of James Bond. You made $10,000 out of that $4,000 by trading. Nobody's going to ask you questions because you're making money. Currency exchange is making money. Everyone is happy. End of this year, you say, you know what, I want to buy a nice gift for myself. So let's now encash my gains and let's convert that cryptocurrency into a fiat. And when you try to do that, exchange will start looking into your AML and KYC and say, is this the driving license? Is this the guy? Okay, the name doesn't match. And guess what? That is what they want to keep your points. So you can trade, but when it comes to bring it back, you won't be able to do that. I mean, my recommendation would be, this is an interesting space, but you don't want to break or bend any rules at this point of time because it already gets a lot of attention. There are easier ways to make money in the cryptocurrency market, just following the pattern, just following the way you want to trade in the market, rather than dealing in anonymity on that. And people do that, but I won't recommend.
So I mean, if you compare with stocks and all, right, you have leads and all that. Okay, this is doing good, so I can put or hold. But here, there's no logic, right? I mean, you are just buying, and because it is something which is growing, just, I mean, is there anything you have to keep in mind that this is the right time or this is not?
Well,
you're getting what I'm.
Yeah. So probably I will say start with the factors that are listed on slide number 4. So this is a space where it's very new at the moment, and to be honest, the kind of money which has gone, which is $170 billion in this space, there is absolutely no controls, no regulations. You can do whatever you feel like, and there's a reason these factors you want to bear in mind. So let's say, for example, tomorrow Mark Carney says Bitcoin is not going to last long. The market comes down. What you want to do is, the moment he said, fair enough, the market is going to come down, you want to sell it off at that point in time. Then you see actually it is now kind of gradually picking up. You buy it at that point in time, you make money out of it. But there's a slightly different world where, like usually with natural calamities, stock markets usually they go up, but this is a market which doesn't even look into it. But at the same time, if you just to give an example, let's say there is a ransomware, and that ransomware is asking for payment in Bitcoin. Make it for sure your Bitcoin is going to go up, because whosoever is going to pay for it, they are going to convert their fiat into Bitcoin, and there is more demand for Bitcoin, the Bitcoin will go up. So, no, not sure if I answered your question, but unlike conventional stock markets, the factors here are very different. probably keep an eye on the news on the crypto market. Usually, the predictions they are right. They will find both sides. There are few individuals who say, you know what, crypto is going to end the world. At the same time, they use a term called Lambos on moon and Ferraris on Mars, which is a bullish view of the crypto market.
Mhm. Because I think we all see that from here it is only growing for now. I mean, it is upward. There might be a time when it reaches its peak and then go. But for now, you're right that sentiments, whatever it is, other than that, not much logic into it, right?
Absolutely. So Bitcoin is purely speculative. There is no reason that in the last 6 months the Bitcoin has all of a sudden zoomed up. One thing probably you might want to think about is what that particular crypto is being used for. If I buy Ethereum, I know that it's being used for smart contracts. I wish I had time to capture a few things around the Bitcoin blockchain and smart contracts, but probably we'll do it next time. Likewise, if you think about OmisGo, so there is a company called OmisGo, the ticker is OMG, and what they are leveraging on is the remittance. So one of the best use cases for a cryptocurrency is a remittance. It's people are saying that what WhatsApp did to the SMS, cryptocurrency would do to the fiat remittance. Why would you pay to Western Union 40 quid and then wait for such long to get your money from UK to India or vice versa? Why not use a crypto? So that's one of the use cases. OmisGo is the currency which is leveraging on it. Likewise, if you're talking about Ripple, XRP, ticker is XRP. Ripple positions heavily in terms of themselves in the financial services market. So again, an area worth looking for. The only reason Ripple prices stay flat is they've already kind of mined a lot of Ripple at the moment. So everybody knows there's a lot of supply in the market. So price just fluctuates. But day traders who know about scalping, you can still make a lot of money just scalping the Ripple.
Okay.
So what's scalping, Soj?
Scalping is when you're day trading and you are kind of just putting a heavy money on a very small variation. So just to give an example, Ripple was at 0.16 euro a few days ago, and I think it's trading at 0.17 or so. If you are going to put a lot of money on that, the percentage wise, you'll still make a lot of money out of it. Your risk would be relatively low.
Okay, one more question. Are there any websites or are there any, like I remember the days when I started getting into this, there was a very famous one called Sherkhan. They used to provide advice. So is there anything, a reliable source which can be referred to for the trends?
So let me quickly capture that. That was my next slide, actually, slide number 8. So we have done all the trading. We have got the crypto in our wallet. The next day I got up, I want to see was there any gain or loss. So this is a slide which I put together just to kind of differentiate between the different mobile apps which are available, where you can check your balances and also for the news. Probably it's not too much specific on news, but there is an app called Cointelegraph which you can use to constantly track the news. In terms of the pricing, in terms of where you want to check the price for crypto, there are few good apps. So Coinbase is something that you want to try. Blockfolio, really good app. It's something that you can build a portfolio inside it. The best thing about Blockfolio is it goes to the different exchanges for a particular currency that you specify. And say, for example, in the past, if you have bought 10 different currencies, you can put into Blockfolio and it will tell you on that particular day how much money you are making or how much money you are losing. For desktop users, I suggest CoinMarketCap is the best website. There is another app called CoinCap. So CoinCap, I suggest use it, but with a caution that CoinCap prices are not accurate. They fluctuate. There is a bit of a lag in terms of user interface. In terms of, I think there is the best step, but it's just that use those price as an indicative. Don't just go by this is the price and I'm going to buy or sell it. Worth checking at another place after I checked it on CoinCap. If you're very advanced, probably TradingView is one of the apps. World Coin Index is also good. Probably back to your point around the news, Cointelegraph is the one. There are lots of Facebook groups you can join, and you would be surprised to see kind of information that you'll get. But just take every piece of information with a pinch of salt that this is some 16-year-old who is trading into cryptocurrencies and he's just putting whatever he feels like rather than having more credibility behind it?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'm just conscious that I'm almost 25 minutes over the time that I promised to you guys. Any more questions on this one? Probably, if required, I'll set up another session because I really want to talk about.
So when is the next session?
I haven't planned it, to be honest. I wasn't sure how many of you would be interested in these sessions, so I just thought, as I said, it started with Samir saying that can someone show me how to trade? I thought maybe I should put together some slides, and as I got more interest, so I haven't planned yet.
No, I think I don't want to repeat. Yeah, I don't want to repeat, but someone said this is an excellent initiative. So thanks to Samir and you too. But this is a space I'm interested in personally for trading and also from a technology space point of view. So maybe we could form a separate group and take it from there.
Sure. I mean, there is. I'm not sure you're on that group. There is already a DLTN crypto group. So I'll add to it, or just ping me and I'll add you to that group.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Hey, good. So it's Muthu. Right. A quick one. I'm just trying to understand. So once you move your position to the wallet, so you can sell it in any exchange, or is it something you need to go back to the where you bought the exchange?
You can sell it to any exchange. So the beauty of the distributed ledger technology is you don't even have to go to that exchange. Say, for example, if you got a Bitcoin, and if I want that Bitcoin, I'll say I will pay you in pounds. Right. Transfer that Bitcoin to me. You don't even have to go to the exchange.
Okay, so once you move the position to the wallet, so you can sell from wallet, or like
you can spend from that wallet also. But I think the markets are not mature yet. So ideally speaking, what the mobile apps do is they let you to spend that Bitcoin even at a coffee shop. So if a coffee shop owner has got a Bitcoin QR scanner or something of that sort, you can show the screen. He can deduct 0.003 Bitcoin from your wallet, and you can enjoy your coffee. But again, as I said, networks are gradually evolving. So the time it takes to do the validations across the different nodes on the Bitcoin blockchain, it might vary.
Right. Okay.
Hello, Soj. Nikhil here again. That's an interesting thing you said there, because what happens if I have just 0.03 Bitcoins, or maybe even less? So that verification can't happen at the point of sale. So how does it work in that case?
So any transaction that happens on the blockchain, be it Bitcoin or Ethereum, that requires certain amount of Bitcoin to be spent to validate that transaction and keep the network going. That is called the mining fee. So when you actually buy a coffee for say 0.003 Bitcoin, you will end up paying maybe a little bit more, like 0.00318 Bitcoin, and that 0.00018 Bitcoin would enable that transaction to go through from your wallet into the coffee owner's wallet. The problem is time it takes for the transaction. It's not necessarily instantaneous. So in this case, probably the owner will say, actually, I haven't received the Bitcoin yet, so I might not give you a coffee. That is a possible scenario. That's the reason.
No, let's say, so the scenario I'm talking about is I've paid Samir 0.2 and I have only 0.1, and I'm now trying to buy a 0.3 worth of coffee. So how does that work? Because you said there is a delay usually in all of this getting settled.
Yeah, but when you try to pay an amount which is not in your wallet, the wallet itself won't let you do that.
Okay.
Because your wallet knows what your exchange note was your current balance is, and you will be able to spend only under that balance, or actually slightly less than that balance, because that wallet needs to include the mining fee also.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
Sorry, I'm trying to understand. For example, the coffee, 1 cup of coffee is 0.001, and there is a suddenly drop in the price, how like the one coffee, when I don't know how the value is going to get fluctuated, like how it's get the coffee shop owner or like how he's going to decide the price.
So this is an interesting question. So when you actually look into the principle behind the blockchain or the Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrencies, the proposition here is we are building up a parallel economy. There's a normal tendency to try to map the business processes from the conventional fiat world into a cryptocurrency and then try to compare it. But think of it this way. If you're doing all your transactions in Bitcoin, would you bother what the variation of what the exchange rate for Bitcoin to USD is? And on the same note, the person who is selling that coffee to you, he should be on the same page. But if he wants that amount in fiat, clearly he will lose out money in that case. And as I said, these are the kind of practical limitations at the moment, which kind of stops us from going and buying a coffee using a Bitcoin.
Right.
Yes, so Samir here. One last thing. When you get a chance, can you share this slide deck as well? Because there are a number of different things that you have captured, and it can be very handy for everyone who is attending.
Sure, absolutely. Not a problem. I'll send the link for recording as well as the slide deck. So you can hear it on your way to office, or if you want, you can browse through your laptop.
Perfect. But I must say this is a fantastic session, and thanks a ton to you.
No problem.
Yeah,
So, Soj, do you have? Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, I mean, I just want to say thanks from bottom of my heart. This is something you're doing best thing that I can imagine. So that's what I can say.
Yeah, so Nikhil here again. The first slide read the Fagare Ventures. So do you have a company? Do you provide advice on this, or I mean, what do you do in general in the context of this discussion?
It's just that I thought that maybe it would look more professional to put my company name in there. I don't provide any advice. This was purely a session where I kind of enjoyed talking about all those points, and I feel really sorry that we didn't manage to capture the basic principles around the Bitcoin, the blockchain, what hash is, what a distributed ledger technology is. Probably that's something that I should have talked previously. But I mean, happy to answer any of your questions. I don't do any kind of provide any professional advice on cryptocurrency trading. It's just that I got interest in this space, and probably this is something that I see a kind of a parallel economy building, and it's the right time to jump into it. You'll realize that teenagers and youngsters nowadays they are very much into it, and clearly there's something you don't want to miss the bus when the whole infrastructure is ready, and then you want to say actually what is Bitcoin or what is a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. Yep.
If there aren't any more questions, probably I will end this session. And thank you so much all for attending this session. Really enjoyed talking to you all. And probably on the DLTN crypto group, I'll just check if anyone is interested in having a session on blockchain and in particular the distributed ledger technology. We can have a similar session sometime towards the end of October.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Soj. Yep.
You can add to the crypto group. Yeah.
Sure. Just ping me on my mobile, and I will add it to the group.
We'll do that.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Yep. Bye.
Thanks, Soj.